Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel Designs by Key, and today we'll be making the ginger purse. This small lightweight bag is perfect for any outfit and can be customized to any size. Now if you're a written pattern person, check the link in the description for the free written pattern. And don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and like this video. For the materials, you're going to need some category 4 cotton yarn. I'm using paint box yarn today, but you can use any cotton that you want. A G 4.0 millimeter hook, some scissors, a needle to weave in the ends, and some type of closure. I have buttons here, but I may use a zipper, but use what you want. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, as always, go ahead and get your yarn, make a slip knot, and go ahead and place that on your hook. And the foundation chain needs to be a multiple of 3 plus 1. For this bag, we're going to do a chain of 34. So go ahead and chain 34. All right, and once you make your chain of 34, we're going to go into the second chain from the hook with a single crochet, and then single crochet in each chain across. Working my last stitch of row 1. And for row 2, we're just going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're just going to single crochet across. Now for rows 3 through 33, they are exactly the same as row 2. Chain 1 and single crochet across. So I'm going to finish this row and up to row 33, and I'll meet you back to start row 34. All right, so I finished up my 33 rows. You should just have a square at this point, and now we're going to start the side flaps. All right, so at the end of row 33, we're just going to loosely chain up 34, and you want to be sure it's loose, so be sure to pull out your stitches just a little bit when you're doing your chains. All right, and once you have your chain, just go ahead and turn your work. We're gonna go ahead and start row 34. All right, so for row 34, you wanna go into the second chain from the hook with a single crochet. And you're gonna single crochet in each chain. This should give you an additional 23 stitches on this end. All right, and once you finish your additional 23 stitches, go ahead and just single crochet across the row. Be sure that you still have 33 stitches across the actual square. All right, coming up on my last stitch. And now we need to make the flap for the other side. And for this, we're going to do a foundation half double crochet. And I'll show you how to get that started. And we're gonna start the foundation half double crochet in that same stitch as you just worked your last stitch into, except we're gonna do it kind of off to the side. So go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch. Draw up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 1. Yarn over, pull through all 3. And that's your first foundation half double crochet, and you can see it just kind of extends the row. And we need 23 total, so we're gonna work 22 more. Yarn over, go into that chain at the very bottom. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 1. Yarn over, pull through all 3. And if you need just a little bit more help with foundation stitches, I will put a link in the description box for a video that I have about them. But go ahead and finish up your 23 foundation stitches, and I'll meet you back at the end of the row. All right, so I finished up my foundation stitches, and like I said, it should just kind of extend the row. And now it's time for row 35. Go ahead and chain up 1 and turn your work. At this point, you should have a total of 79 stitches, and we're just going to single crochet across. And for rows 36 and 37, we're going to do the exact same thing. Chain up 1 and single crochet across. I'm going to meet you guys back at the end of row 37. All right, finishing up my very last stitch. And we're just going to go ahead and fasten off. I like to leave a long tail, and we can use that to sew up the sides later on, but you can do it however you like. At this point, you should have something that looks a little like this, and let's go ahead and get started on the other side. All right, and for this next row, you're gonna start from this end. You're gonna count in 24 stitches and attach your yarn to that 24th stitch. All right, and once your yarn is attached, go ahead and chain 1. Single crochet in that same stitch. And then we're just going to single crochet in the next 32 stitches. And the next rows 39 through 70 are going to be exactly the same. Just chain 1 and single crochet across. And it should be 33 stitches total. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up through row 70, and I'll meet you back to show you what to do next. All right, so I finished up my 70th row. You should have something that looks like this. And now we can go ahead and move on to the flap that closes the bag. After row 70, you do not want to fasten off. We're just going to continue on to the flap. Go ahead and chain up 3. And turn your work. This chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and we're just going to double crochet in each stitch across. You should still have 33 stitches. Working my last double crochet of row 71. And for row 72, go ahead and chain up 3. Turn your work. And we're just going to double crochet back across. Again, it should be 33 stitches. For row 73, it's going to be the exact same as row 72. Chain 3 and double crochet across. I'm going to finish this row in row 73, and I'll meet you back for row 74. All right, so I finished up my 73rd row, or my 3rd row of double crochet, and now we're going to do a bobble row. So go ahead and chain 2, turn your work. In the first stitch, we're going to work a half double crochet. In the next stitch, we're going to do a bobble stitch, and I'll do that with you. Go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook, draw up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to do this 4 more times. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, draw through 2. Draw through. You should end up with 6 loops on your hook altogether. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 6. Now when you make bobble stitches, they don't bobble on the side that you're seeing. It should actually puff out on the opposite side, so on this side. Okay. I'm going to do another one with you, but the next stitch, go ahead and make a single crochet. And then a half double crochet in the next stitch. So again, just for the bobble stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and do that same thing 4 more times. So you do it 5 times in all, and you end up with 6 loops on your hook. That's how you know you're finished. All right, so I have 6 loops. Go ahead and yarn over, pull through all 6 loops to create your bobble. Single crochet in the next stitch, and half double crochet in the next. And you're going to continue with this pattern until you get down to the very last 2 stitches. You're going to do a half double crochet, bobble, and then single crochet all the way across to the last 2 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and finish mine up down to the last 2, and I'll meet you there. Alright, so I'm down to my last 2 stitches. Remember that chain 3 from the last row does count as a stitch. And we're just going to put a bobble in the next stitch, and then a half double crochet in that very last stitch. Alright, so at the end of this row, you're going to go ahead and chain up 3 and turn your work. And we're just going to double crochet in every stitch across. I know it can be a little weird to find the stitches after the bobbles, but just kind of take a look at the top and find the V and just double crochet across. And just triple check at the end to be sure you end up with 33 stitches. Finishing up my last stitch of row 75. Again, just double check that you have 33 stitches on this row before you move on. And now let's go ahead and start our mesh row. I'm gonna go ahead and chain up 4. That counts as a double crochet plus a chain 1 and turn your work. All right, and to make those mesh boxes, you're going to skip this stitch here and work a double crochet into this next stitch. Chain 1, going to skip this stitch and work a double crochet into that next stitch here. And chain 1. Skip the next stitch, double crochet, chain 1. And you're going to repeat this all the way across the row, and I'll meet you back at the end. Alright, working my last mesh box here. And we're going to do one more row of double crochet. So go ahead and chain up 3, turn your work, and we're going to double crochet across. So of course that chain 3 already counts as a stitch. Go ahead and double crochet in the chain 1 space. Double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1 space, in the next stitch. And you're going to continue this across the row. Of course, your last stitch should go into the 3rd chain of that turning chain. And again, be sure you have 33 stitches. Alright, working my last stitch into the 3rd chain of that turning chain. And the next row is going to be a bobble row. So go ahead and chain up 2, turn. We're going to do the same thing we did on the other bobble row. So the very first stitch, go ahead and place a half double crochet. The next stitch, we're going to work a bobble. In the very next stitch, we're going to work a single crochet. Half double crochet in the next. Bobble. Then work a single crochet in the next stitch. And you're going to continue with half double crochet, bobble, then single crochet all the way across the row until the last 2 stitches. And in the last 2 stitches, you're going to place a bobble and then a half double crochet in that very last stitch. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the row, and I'll meet you at the end. All right, so I finished my last bobble, and my last half double crochet. All right, time for the next row. Just go ahead and chain up 1, turn your work, and we're just gonna work a single crochet row. So you wanna single crochet in the first stitch, and then single crochet in every stitch across. At this point, you should still have 33 stitches. The next row is going to be a single crochet row as well. Chain up 1 and single crochet across. So I'm going to finish up this row and the next row, and I'll meet you back for the next row. All right, finishing up row 80. There should be 2 rows of single crochet, 79 and 80. Go ahead and chain up 1, turn your work. And at this point, you really want to figure out how you want your bag to close. I know in the materials I showed a button, but I think I'm going to do an actual zipper closure for this bag. But if you do plan on doing a button, you may need to do a buttonhole or anything like that, and you want it to be at the bottom of this because this is your flap to close. So if you are going to do a button, plan a buttonhole maybe in the next few rows. But if you're going to do a zipper like me, of course you'll just sew the zipper on once we finish sewing the bag together. But just keep that in mind as you're making the bag. So for row 81, you want to go ahead and skip the first stitch. We're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then just single crochet across until you have 2 stitches left. All right, down to my last 2 stitches, and we're just going to single crochet 2 together in the last 2. So insert your hook, draw up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3, and that makes a decrease. All right, and for the very last row, go ahead and chain up 1 and turn. And we're going to do the same thing we did for the other row. So skip the first stitch, single crochet in the next, and single crochet across until you have 2 stitches left. All right, and in the last 2 stitches, go ahead and single crochet 2 together. Go ahead and fasten off and cut your yarn. And this is what you should have for your flap. I know the edges are a bit wavy. What I will do at the end, once we finish the bag all together, I'm actually going to block my flap so that way this is a little straighter. But that is totally up to you. Honestly, it's just as beautiful like this, but if you want it to be straighter, if you're a perfectionist like me, you can block this to make it just a little bit straighter. But let's go ahead and move on to assembly. All right, so for assembly, you just want to go ahead and lay your work out with the wrong side facing up. Just kind of lay it sideways. And just so you can get an idea of what we're going to do, these are the side flaps, so they will kind of come up on the side, and these are the outside panels. So basically what we're going to do is to take the sides of the panels and sew them to the sides of this outside strip here to kind of make a bag. This gives you just a little bit more room in the bag. All right, so just to start off, we're going to start on this side here. You're going to take the strip and you're going to fold it kind of back and up and line up the sides with the side panel here. And this is where you're going to seam it, okay? Now for the seam, I know a lot of times I use a slip stitch, but for this I am going to use a needle and kind of whip stitch it together because you don't want it to be bulky. You kind of want the seam to lay as flat as possible, so that way it doesn't show so much on the outside. So we're just gonna start here, make sure that this is lined up, and seam it all across here. And then I'll show you how to do the next part. All right, so we finished up sewing this side. You should have something that looks a little like this. And you see that the seam is on the inside and you can't really see it on the outside. So now we're just gonna sew this other side to this same piece. So you just kind of want to fold it over Do the same thing you did for the other side. Line it up, and you're just going to seam all the way across. I'm going to go ahead and finish that up. All right, so I finished up sewing up the other side. You should have something that looks like this. And of course, when you turn it right side out, that's what it should look like. So you have one of the sides done. You're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side, so make sure it's still right side out. You're going to take this other side, line it up. You're going to seam it here. And then once you seam it there, you're going to line it up with the other side. And then seam it here. So I'm gonna finish up the seaming for this, and then we can go ahead and move on to the strap. All right, so I finished seaming both sides, and you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and flip it right side out. And this is what you have for your bag so far. And now it's time to go ahead and make the straps. All right, so for the strap, it's going to extend off the side piece that we just sewed together. So you're just going to insert your hook kind of in the seam between the front panel and the side piece, and go ahead and attach your yarn. You're going to work a single crochet in that same space that you just attached. And you want to single crochet across the top, and you want to have 5 single crochet total. So go ahead and find a space for 4 more single crochet. All right, so now that you have your 5 stitches, we're just going to work a row of half double crochet. So go ahead and chain up 2 and turn your work. And we're just going to half double crochet back across the row. And you want to keep working half double crochet rows until your strap measures 42 inches or whatever your desired length is. And again, you're just doing half double crochet rows, chain up 2 and half double crochet across. You should have a total of 5 stitches when you go across. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up mine again for 42 inches, and I'll be right back with you. All right, working the last couple stitches on my strap, and we're just going to fasten off. Go ahead and cut your yarn, and you just want to leave a tail long enough to seam your strap to your bag. All right, so before you seam your strap to your bag, you want to be sure that your strap is not twisted. And you also want to be sure that you're putting the seam on the inside. So if your bag is right side out, you're just going to take your strap and you want to kind of fold it over and seam it on the inside here to the bag. And make sure that you're seaming it to the side part of the bag. And once you seam it here, go ahead and weave in all of your ends, and we are done. I absolutely cannot wait to see all the different variations of the ginger purse. Be sure to tag me on social media so I can see what you guys come up with. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss what I have coming next. Thank you so much for crocheting with me. Until next time.